fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Fire pomudi ni agobi Ghana fueni age if you say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya Sankofa natural spice
me de go me jollof mu ni me still ahodoma e ma ne dance
Stanley the barbecue the go on
Sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural.
Adofo, mamunye huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices.
MNC Logistics and Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. MNC Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
Cratchy, unemu bua unkoisha Dr. Baah uye denwa.
Oh, Mr. Yamfan come and me buru.
Mami go buru. Tony adelebe ko. Bra, mumi yamfan ko Dr. Baah. Dr. Baah no ya de. Bra, se panu no mpemu adwuma sasabro slow Dr. Baah oye.
Hey, let me call na meka. Oh, no mpemu nimdi ono na ye expect nya zanfo no. O akra eni kumasi no mpemu expect yen kan kire.
There was a time in Ghana when waste was everyone's problem and no one's responsibility. Do you remember when as children, going to Baah was such a chore? When the guys who worked with waste are shunned in the community, we seem to have forgotten them days when waste management was not dignified. Then came a vision, bold, unshakable, one that believed sanitation was not just a service, but a symbol of dignity. A revolution quietly began. A transformation from one Agyapong tricycle to thousands of waste collection vehicles. From open dump site to adding value to waste. From a job no one wanted to one that feeds thousands of homes. From dump site to dignity.
police station.
Send 020.
So what really happened? The first time we raised, as we were playing the movie, when we started, the landlords came to tell us that what we are doing is going to cause a problem. They will beat us. That's the first statement they made. All because we were cheering Kennedy Agyapong. All because we were cheering Kennedy Agyapong. Who brought the landlords? Baumia brought the landlords. Baumia. Former president too. Former president. Instead of you to bring soldiers and police people, Langard. You brought Langard to come and bring the 2M express for you. But they fired the guy. We have the number of the van. We have the van. You have the number plate. Yes, of the van. I can't hear your kind of number plate. Can you guys read the number out? AS 5943. 23. Okay. Ebe tutu now. Ebe start here, boy. They are for nothing right now. They are from Unity. Unity. They are for nothing right now. Start students. Why? Students. Because of money. Langard. Now Langard, the boss of this can ask you, no boss. You cannot pay a farm on me, and the students. So they give the money to us. We should handle it. I got our money on this country. Only
just some picture is okay.
I think I'll start from this place. Last 2 weeks or so, Kennedy Agyapong Baah came to the campus now. As a boom raman, as a energy murano, mobile thank you to our Shanti region. That's Bantima Pentecost Church. Yes, I know you call on Crassi Pakushan. You could look on William by it. You can or buy another. Your body and so on, you do right inside. By right inside, we want to be seen inside. I said, they were not allowing us as an among family. These are some guys be pumping. Say, I'm on my own room. They say, see a class now. You move back to gallery on them. Near partner 20. You're back to gallery on them. And some macho man, the about on my tuition while we eat to and say. One of our guys in Campus in a cinema and a tune where you know I see Okataso. Okataso no one to try and see. From there, no, your boy Murai, BBA, and see a PA na, Yannick Kennedy PA. And now, my guys back home. Obiman is car. So, be this kind of man, na Toyota Hayes BC one of my Guru guys, no Mujination as outside on them. To Mujination outside on them now, almost not his kind of free boy in his. So, of course, Okajino Muyu to watch them. And a baby, more now, boys and cats on Monty because they music and their mom. They also moji, dear Yomodi. The impulse of magic can occur, or moon for Binomon for the Akan mom. The ban and better than Amino Mocasa. Terminal Mocasam show your max, but I come to buy 200 cities. 100 cities in and I'm cast a nipple baby 200 cities and so on 2 dear. Munimas can more than 500 cities into move for half, no more for half my soon. Nay, Mona, but put you 2 or Charles said. One shot or 8 times. That's what I had 8 times. By a sample of bullets, not 3 penny in a police station, a queer case. And no my letter from saying Family Hospital or 220 and almost had one of our guys. In here, you general company or no crab catcher me say, ya 1 second. See, I 1 second, no boys need to mention a catcher me say, or one checker, the information to a much train or the car call, some trust hospital, and on the bandit fast. Somebody buying fast, no say emergency. So say the transfer no back on much. So I'm back on financial. Me call police or call a police case. Now me dey sample natural man on man form na me dey back on financial say documents.
No nipa or man muskan.
Yeah. Nipa no man is can Maxi billions. I think almost would deal with cars.
Okay. Okay, so say Goro boys be on the
I said, I'm muzzle guys. I said,
the story out there is Maxi Edisikane Mamo. And now Momo Chena Momo boys in Sikano be access CBMO. And based on that, you know, and I must start
a coding in Semano Mosnachi. So Mosnachi, no, na Baumia Basno, AP. See if you come from about Coca say, Omoni Doctor Nenam, Yamane Kwampu show me to the Enyana, Yensatino Munko. That was into Omo confirming say Omagiscano. Okay. So Omagiscano free boy on Tia Moko Fabiaba.
Omone Doctor Nenam, Guru boys and Dr. Benenam.
Omoka said Dr. Baumia.
There's a Guru boys in the car, Dr.
Baumia. Sanomoka say Omone Doctor Nenam, Kayama na Betina or show me. Tienya no Munko. Because now your boys Nijina. Omoka and Nima say Omon first can more one, son of Mamma. He no more treat.
Omo almost start with Monya DB as a be as some as we in a year and
as at now, Yenya because he any more. If we be nearby now, he be seeing a must be one of our guys.
Now, when the catcher was Omoka Doctor Baumia,
Omo the kind,
Metro men for
catches so many doctor and Yamani from Yamonko.
Is it true, sir? No starting Moran or be best performance?
Yeah, you were inside almost up here. Yeah, my he almost with the affirmation program today in Castle because of so almost say and they can and Moses. 3, 4 more time they mean to me specific here. So bear 5, 6 idea that time one because now and you know you out yeah.
Munyan is stabbing your friend say.
As at now, minimum by field by minimum.
Na you can cancel your University student or Conti, no correct.
Yeah.
Or your University student. Answer na mobile free emergency Abana. What is the state that he's in?
He was feeling okay. He's responding
to treatment.
Okay.
Very. Okay. In that incident here, you know, a mamo abu who and say, NPP program be ACB.
Oh, the incident is in the abu who the asama ya shocked because me no more try say. Me come best stable me so it's not me medium because my life will be at stake during that side.
So there's the NPP program the Musi has.
Oh, there be and Kennedy Ayonko program.
We're still live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. This show is also live on 94.1 FM on your radio dial. So just in case you want to move out of your comfort zone, your comfortable home, but you still want to monitor the conversation that takes place here, just tune to 94.1 FM. It's crystal clear. You would hear everything that's been talked about or discussed here on the Good Morning Ghana show. Now, before I let you in on my guest today, as usual, let me say a big thank you and a big acknowledgement to the businesses and the companies that are making it possible for us to bring you Good Morning Ghana. And I'll start with Polytank. Now, Charlie, look, this is Ghana. You only get to see it if you're not sure of what you're buying, or you don't really know the markets. Now, when it comes to water storage tanks, this is a name we all know is Polytank. It has been with us for over 30 years and has been trusted by all these generations. And make no mistake, always choose Polytank for guaranteed quality. It's available at the same price across the country at Polytank partner shops. Be it Rambo, Hippo, Sumo, or Super Sumo, durability is always assured. Polytank, the original, always the best. Papano and Ankasa. Caution, Polytank does not request for Momo payment online. Also, Blue Jeans Energy Drink, and I'll tell you a bit more about Blue Jeans Energy Drink, but we need to quickly do this because a matter has happened or has occurred, an incident has occurred, and it occurred yesterday in Bantama in the Ashanti region, and we need to quickly speak to a former presidential aspirant, and I'm talking MPP presidential aspirant. In fact, I'm talking about Mr. Kennedy Agyapong, the Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. He's joined the show to speak to us about an incident that happened yesterday. And let me say a very good morning to Honorable. Honorable, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on the Good Morning Ghana program.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. And it's always a pleasure having you join us on the show. But first of all, there's this incident which has been reported widely by the newspapers, and also it's online. It has to do with a student who was stabbed as a result of some altercation between him and some bodyguards. And we want to find out from you. In fact, we're told that you went to the police to file a complaint, and you also were very instrumental in making sure that this student we're talking about received the best of medical care. What exactly happened from what you know, sir?
All right. Thank you very much. Yesterday, we left Kono region, Sunyani, and came to Kumasi, Buakwa area. In fact, who to me spoke very well. It was nice. And we are all calling for unity, quoting in the Bible, you know, that unity is important and necessary for our cause. So, yesterday, the first place, the Buakwa, we have a place called Banners, Kumasi. We went there to eat lunch. And the third place, which was the second place of Ashanti, we were supposed to be there by 5 o'clock. I don't know, my Ashanti group apparently invited some supporters. So when I got there, I saw students from tech and some ladies wearing, they call themselves Ken ladies. You know, honestly, it is Dr. Baumia's campaign, Thank You Tour. So I don't want to outshine him or take the shine from him. So I signaled them that they should stop whatever they were doing, you know. Apparently the vice president was even there, but he didn't come out until I got there and, you know, I went to say, then he also came in. I didn't see anything, with the exception of these young men, when they mentioned my name, you know, students, they were singing and all those things, very touchy songs. We finished the program. Dr. Baumia also has Baumia ladies, they also came to cheer him up and everything. I mean, it's cool. So after the program, I left. But on my way, I had a call that Baumia's team, one security guy has stabbed a student. I said, how? So I did the investigation. We turned and we checked where he was. They said we went to Sintraso Hospital. Then they said it was serious, so they had to take him to Kompanochi. So we rushed down to Kompanochi. And when we went there, we saw it there. It was serious. The way the guy was bleeding and everything. So we called the chief executive of Kompanochi. He was attacked and rushed down to the hospital to give him good attention and everything. But let me correct this. In fact, Dr. Baumia's security, we all know each other. So when we go, we shake hands and everything. But there's this boy, Ali Shurat, who is also part of his security. I don't know if he's in charge of Ashanti region. When we got to the Church of Pentecost, he has brought a team again, besides Dr. Baumia's security that we've been going around with. A new guys came in. They were using Toyota heads. And the students were smart. They took the car number when the incident happened. So I didn't know anything. Because we are all friends. We shook hands, you know, everything. So when I did the investigation, then I realized it's the new guys who came in. The Aswansi guys came in and did that, you know, and one of them stabbed me. And the thing is, it was a friend of mine who gave them just 1,000 cedis. Then these security guys snatched it from the boys. So they started arguing that, no, it's a gift to us by this man. So the man himself came in and said, no, the 1,000 cedis is for the students, not for you. Then the security guys were so low, they gave 200 cedis to the students. And the students said, no, look at the number of people here. How are we going to share 200 cedis? So when they were arguing with them, then they gave a warning shot. They have the bullet part, everything, and the police. The boys were smart. I was not at the scene, but they took some of them, the shells, and took it to the police. So when they were running away, then one of the guys, we know him very well, he just stabbed the boy. And it was serious. He's still at the hospital. So those of you see, we are doing politics. But the truth must be told. If you make a mistake, just apologize. But they are turning things around that, Agyapong's boys were fighting over 2,000 cities and one of them stabbed a. Always trying to paint their candidate as innocent and everything. It won't help us. Me, I'm preaching unity. If not, I would have retaliated either. You are not the guy. I can take care of him well. But you same person, you go there and preach unity. Then you go and retaliate. It defeats the purpose. That is why I've calmed everybody down. No, my security, they were furious because they know each other. And I said, please, don't let us spoil this. Let's leave it. So that is what actually happened. And the gentleman is still at the hospital. That is why I said, look, the way things are going, what happened at Brekum, the way Abronya insulted me, he's a good friend that I've helped. But because of politics, he gets opportunity to talk to me anyhow. And everybody says, don't say anything. That I would not accept. If Agyapong is quiet, it doesn't mean I will let anybody take me for granted. That is not Agyapong. It means I'll be faking. The truth is truth, and I'll always defend it. I could not allow this guy to diss me the way he dissed me in front of people, and I could not say anything. And let me give you a reference. If you know Mike Tyson and his wife granted interview. And in the course of the interview, the wife insulted Mike Tyson. He didn't even understand it until they got home and they explained what the wife said about him. That caused the divorce. Okay? But I'm not illiterate that I don't even understand the insinuations Abronya was casting for me to be quiet. If you want to be president and people say things like this, you are not able to correct them, then you are not going to be effective leader. I needed to respond swiftly and spontaneously. And the same language should be used to check him. Somebody that I have fed, I've given him cars. I spent 480,000 on his campaign. This man told me Bawumia has brought a northerner to unseat him. So he needed help. I gave him 480,000. They should go and ask my nephew or Safu and Eduse. So I was surprised.
You mean Abronya DC told you this?
Yeah, I'm saying that I have done all this for him. But because of politics, he stood in front of the people, party people, to disrespect me. And people are saying, you don't have to say anything. A man that you have fed before comes openly because of politics to diss you, and everybody says quiet. Then this is not Agyapong. Agyapong is faking to be president. I want to be natural. I want to be real. I want to prove to Ghanaians that I am a swift decision maker. I can take and I'm bold and take responsibility for everything that goes wrong. I will not shy away. I needed to respond. But based on Brekum and what has happened last night, I think it's better I withdraw. That is why I'm pulling out, because the safety of my entourage is not going to be protected. They are not going to be protected. That is why I'm pulling out.
Did I hear you say that you are withdrawing from the Thank You tour?
Yes.
Why?
Because if anybody who supports me is under threat, there's a gentleman here. When he shows you the video, they said he's a relative of President Akufo-Addo. And the threats, I can't protect all of them. I need to go back. But I want to assure Bawumia's group that I am going to regroup. And you see, all the strength you are pulling, why didn't you pull that strength and fast on NDC and you were running away? You were running away. Look at what NDC did. And you guys were running away. You know, it is only NPP internally that they feel they are bold. But we started the party in 1990. And the Rollins were able to resist. So it's not by violence. Hey, we are going to use wisdom. But if it's violence, well, I will not tell you what I'm going to do. Because as a leader and a commander, you always don't unleash your ammunition for your opponent to know your intention. Case closed. So thank you very much.
All right, Ken, please just indulge us for just a few minutes, if you don't mind, sir. You know,
people are waiting for me.
Yeah, just
a few minutes.
Yeah, just a minute, sir, just a minute. You know, there are some people who feel that this whole idea of involving yourself and the other competitors who lost to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the thank you tour, it's a bad idea, and that it would only further deepen the cracks within the party, and that Bawumia is the one who led the party in the 2024 election. He should have just gone for his thank you tour instead of extending this invitation to, you know, persons like you and the others. And that what we're beginning to see is only a confirmation of the fear or the anxieties that some persons had from the beginning. In fact, Kojo Pienim, who's the former chief of staff, thinks that the thank you tour should even stop, and that is not fulfilling, it's not achieving its objective.
I tend to agree with them, but I'm not going to comment on it. What I have seen, I tend to agree with them. You know, I leave it like that.
Okay. Ken, thank you. Thank you so very much for your time. All right. So that's Ken Agyapong. He's a former member of parliament for the Asin Central constituency and also a former flag bearer aspirant of the New Patriotic Party. He wanted to become flag bearer of the MPP for the 2024 elections, but he lost to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Talking to us, and this morning he's been talking to us about some unfortunate incident that happened in Bantama, where a student of KNUST has been stabbed and is receiving some medical treatment at the Suntreso Hospital. And Ken himself, has had to lead a team to file a complaint to the police. And it has to do with money. Some businessman gave some money to these boys who were chanting and you know, praising Ken Agyapong. And some macho men came and they threatened that they wanted the money, and they took the money away from the boys. The boys tried to confront them, and they brandished a gun, and so they had to run away. They came back again, and these macho men gave them 200 Ghana cedis. And they said, 200 Ghana cedis, look at our numbers. What are we going to do with 200 Ghana cedis? Give us our money. And that's what resulted in that one of them being stabbed, I'm told, at the lower right limb, something like that. So Ken was talking to us about it, but he says he's not interested in the thank you tour anymore, and that he wants to go and take care of other business. Anyway, we've been told that the stabbing apparently affected his lungs, and so it's a very serious matter. But my guests are here, and I'm sure that they will definitely have a bite as far as this matter is concerned. So Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper, and also Eric Chum is a member of the MPP's communications team, and both of them are here. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Ghana. It's always a pleasure seeing the two of you here. I'm sure you heard Ken. I don't know whether you'd want to make some preliminary comments about what Ken has said so far, but of course the bigger issue has to do with the thank you tour and all the issues that have come out or emerged from the thank you tour. Some have said it shouldn't have been a thank you tour, it should have been an apology and accountability tour. Some saying that yes, if you still want to go on a thank you tour, why involve others? We know there are issues. Rather sit behind closed doors and deal with the issues that are within the party. The thank you tour is not serving its purpose. We've heard some of the comments that the flag bearer, the presidential candidate of the MPP has said about some things he knew, some things he didn't know, you know, and we saw the altercation between Abronya DC, who's the Bono regional chairman of the MPP, with Ken Agyapong, and first Ken has confirmed, and so on and so forth. I mean, Uncle C, what do you make of? I'll start with Eric. Okay, that's fine. I think it's fair. It's fair. You're a bystander. You're a bystander.
The boss is here.
The boss is here, right? Yes. Eric, look, personally, I don't know whether you'll be flouting the MPP's own constitution if you say this, but do you think this whole thank you tour was even a good idea in the first place. Yes, never mind that it's been done in the past by other flag bearers, by presidential candidates. But looking at your unique situation, do you think that the thank you tour was actually a good idea in the first place?
Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity once again. Ankwesi, I think I haven't seen you this year. You haven't?
Yeah.
I think I've seen you once. So. Now, on a personal level, I mean, the question is, why should it be different for Dr. Baumia?
Right.
Why should it be different? And, you know, when you're talking about issues to do with the party, it requires a bit of restraint. Because, I mean, even though some of us haven't been there since 1990, 1992, we still have been there for quite a while. And we've been privy to some of the issues that have happened within the party and issues that have happened over the period. The issues within the MPP did not start yesterday, or did not even start with the loss in 2024. Some of these issues have been there for a very long time. And my challenge is that the people who all of a sudden are calling for certain things are architects of where we find ourselves, you know. And so I find it very strange that when it comes to Dr. Baumia, then all of a sudden we have to change the narrative and we want to change the processes. I don't really see anything wrong in principle with a thank you tour. The campaign, which I was an integral member of, had already penciled down to go around the country to do a thank you tour. And then what had happened is that the party had commissioned the Michael Quay committee to look into the post-election, do a post-mortem of the election, and come back with a report. So in the wisdom of the campaign, the idea was that, okay, why would you want to be on the field when the Michael Quay committee is also on the field looking for answers as to why we lost the elections? And so we decided to shelve the thank you tour and then wait for the reports to come out. After the report comes out, the report went through a process. I think NEC was given an opportunity to see it, and then it went to National Council, and then National Council accepted it. Subsequent to that, the party has actually issued a communique that people who have recommendations when it comes to constitutional amendments and so should be given an opportunity to do so and all of that. And that the party now decided to take responsibility for the thank you tour. But then because Dr. Baumia was a flag bearer, of course he becomes, if you like, the key protagonist to go around there and do this thank you tour, with an invitation extended to the various other aspirants and key party personnel. But you see, when you want to see red herrings, you would see red herrings. You know, so in as much as, for me, as far as I'm concerned, people have every right to say that because of what has happened, and which is the benefit of hindsight, of what has happened, or as the thank you tour has been going on, they feel that maybe it was a terrible idea. But in principle, as a political party, maybe the name thank you tour people will have a challenge with the name thank you tour. But you can call it anything. It's a function of nomenclature. You understand what I'm saying? And so, for me, people are becoming too overly excited.
But you know, nomenclatures are important.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a function. It's a function of that.
I agree, but
yeah. No, so I mean,
okay, that's fine.
You see, this whole conversation around even losing an election. I mean, yesterday I had an opportunity to discuss some of these things with certain persons, and you see, there's a whole intellectual argument to it, you know, and you know that there's dissonance. The moment somebody walks into a phone, what do you call it, a booth to cast a ballot, there's an electorate, right? They have expectations. Over an 8-year period, this dissonance will now be activated. It's like somebody going to buy, for want of an argument, walks into a showroom to buy a vehicle. Now, immediately you move from the showroom and you put the car on the road, you start getting dissonance. You know, so for us marketers and comms people, we appreciate that. So the emotions, for me, as far as I'm concerned, the emotions are are too much. People are positioning for presidential, regional executive, national executive, constituency, and all of those things. And their pitching camps. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm not worried because I've seen worse. Remember, when John Mahama, president, won in 2012, persons were sent to the residence of President Kufuor to even stop him, prevent him from moving from his house to go to the inauguration. Do you understand what I'm saying? We've seen all of these things. I mean, you can have other examples in other political parties and all of that. Once you lose an election, there are fallouts. What is required for me, as far as I'm concerned, is that there has to be some level of emotional intelligence so that we do not sort of present cannon fodder to our opponents and make it more difficult for us to come back to the Ghanaian people and say, yes, well and indeed, you gave us an opportunity to run this country. You were, for one reason or the other, not happy with us. But this is what we stand for. These are our ideals. And that we're giving ourselves an opportunity to reposition the party and present a formidable, project come 2028. So all of these things that we are doing, as far as I'm concerned, there's much ado about nothing. What I find very unfair is almost a certain attack on the personality of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And all these persons have forgotten the sacrifices that he had made. And I mean, some of these people, I mean, there are new people who have come in and are passing commentary and everything. And there are people that I only saw, the first time I even saw them commenting on anything MPP was in our second term. That's what I'm saying. All of a sudden, they've grown wings and there's a certain audacity because people have won an election and you become stakeholders and you've actually enjoyed from it. Do you understand? So if anybody is calling for unity and all of those things, hindsight is also very important. And we also have to come to the point where we acknowledge that, yes, we've lost the election. And as bad as it is, this is not the end of the world. So if you go back, you regroup, right, and you present a new project to the Ghanaian people, say that, okay, we did A, B, C, D, you were unhappy with us, but we believe strongly that this is what we can do in 2028. So this whole conversation about this thank you tour is an attempt to project Dr. Mahmoud. It's not logical. You understand? And you know the reason why. If you have followed the party very well, in 2022 or so, when we went to our internal elections, right, the attrition rate in the constituency elections was about 60%. So even some of these people that we are busy campaigning to, it might happen that you do your polling station executive elections, your electoral area elections, constituency elections, regional elections, national executive elections, they will not be there. So the focus should be on regrouping, reorganizing, and putting the building blocks in place so that we can even start our internal
they may be there.
Processes.
They may be there.
I said, what I'm saying that
they may be there.
They may, but I'm saying that
for now.
Yeah. You're shooting in the dark.
Right.
Right? You understand?
I hope you understand what I'm saying. They may be there.
No, but what I mean is that for now, but that is a constitutional conversation that we are having. You understand?
Which is a possibility.
But fair enough. I mean, but what I'm saying is that, so we are not there yet, right? And because of what has happened in times past, that's why I use the word emotional intelligence. So there are people who can be accused of saying things and doing things that have brought the party into disrepute. And they have been forgiven. You understand what I'm saying? So we cannot do that now, and then 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the line, we say that let's go and do some reconciliation. You understand what I'm saying? So the responsibility starts from now. And, I mean, urgent restraint from everybody. I mean, the personality of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, that he would engineer or even countenance a group of people going to indulge in violence. I mean, come on. I mean, you have followed his politics. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not disputing the fact that people can get a bit overzealous. People can get a bit passionate and all of those things when it comes to these things. Now, this thing that has happened is purely a criminal matter. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if anybody who is even vying for president or whatever should call the security authorities to investigate, and whoever is found responsible, like he has indicated that he even knows the people involved, becomes a criminal matter. So that you do not draw your opponents into it, because this is early days yet. It might happen that we go somewhere else, somebody will be wearing a t-shirt that has a rictum on it, he goes and misbehaves, and then you are drawing the entirety or even the brand image of the party into dispute because certain individuals. So everybody has a name. You know the people, the police should take control over the issues, and if it's a criminal matter, so let's deal with it, so that we're not going to countenance violence because there's an internal process. Okay. You understand? But I do not see, honestly, I don't see where the issue is. People are getting overly excited. The process has not even kick-started yet, right? Now, what irks me, to be honest with you, I mean, and I'm straining myself, is that some of the individuals who, for example, people are calling for amnesty, and people are calling for certain people to be brought back and everything. Some of these people were the key architects for those people being suspended. You should have listened to Agyapong's interview. Right, and you know me, nobody can change my orientation when it comes to these conversations. You know, some of these persons were the key architects. They were the ones actually sponsoring and sending petitions around for them to be removed. Then 8 years down the line, all of a sudden, because of parochial interest and personal interest, you're calling for that. Because that shouldn't have happened in the first place. It shouldn't have happened to start with. Okay. Right? And so these events and where we find ourselves today, didn't happen today. And anybody, and that is a call. And so whilst people are now beating their chest and all sort of things and becoming more macho than other people, anybody that attempts to draw Dr. Bawumia into this conversation and even do things that are calculated to tarnish his image will also be met fair and square. That's fine. As far as you're concerned, because at the end of the day, nobody holds, nobody has monopoly over these things. Okay. I mean, I'm not talking about violence. I'm saying that the process hasn't started. All right. If a process started, so be it. Whoever is interested will come out and contest. If they win, I have supported any candidate that has been nominated as flag bearer of the MPP. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? And that is exactly what I would do. Okay. But let's not create issues. Let's not base our strategies on red herrings. Okay. Right? And just tarnish the image of persons just because of political expediency. All right.
Let me bring in Mr. Kwesi Pratt now, because in all of this, we've just heard Agyapong say that he's not interested anymore. He can't be bothered. Mr. Kwesi Pratt, thank you to When Matters Arising. What's your take, sir?
Well, I mean, Eric, my first major surprise is your statement that you are not worried. You should be worried, very seriously worried. There's a stabbing incident. A young man, supposedly a student at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, is struggling for his life.
Thank you.
And this is coming out of a party activity. And it's not just Eric who should be worried. All of us, as Ghanaians, even as citizens of the world, need to be very deeply worried about this development. You understand? It's exceedingly worrying. It should not have happened. And you see, when people appoint their security teams and bodyguards, they are responsible for the actions of those they appoint. You cannot appoint bodyguards and security personnel for yourself and so on. And when they engage in acts such as stabbing and so on, claim that, no, I'm innocent, I didn't do it. Because everybody who appoints a security team, appoints bodyguards and so on, has a responsibility to ensure that they are well behaved, that they do not commit criminal acts and so on. And I think that point also needs to be made very, very, very clearly.
Except to say that in this case, we cannot confirm if indeed the chap who committed that act of violence is actually Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's security board.
But you have Kennedy Agyapong.
That's
Unless Kennedy Agyapong is lying.
That's his claim.
Unless he's lying. Yeah. I have no reason to believe that he's lying.
Okay.
And his claim has not been challenged.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
So the point is that anybody who appoints a security team and bodyguards and so on bears some responsibility, for the actions of the people that they appoint and so on. Now, there's something else that I think is striking. You see, what is happening with this thank you tour is perhaps unprecedented. It is not true and cannot be true that this has always happened. It's not true.
True.
Because if you look at Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he lost twice,
yes.
I think, before he won.
Yes.
So, in all the cases, thank you tours were organized, but were organized by his campaign team. That's the difference.
Not by the party.
No, they were organized by his campaign team. Check. In this case, it is the party which has decided to organize a thank you tour. It is the party whose leader today is Mr. Stephen Ntim,
yes,
which has decided to organize this campaign tour, highlighting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. That's a difference.
Why highlighting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia? There are other contenders.
Read the stories that you read today. That the tour is led by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Isn't that what we are being told?
Well, what we're told is that he's a key figure, but not necessarily the leader of the tour. And it is so because he is the party's immediate past flag bearer.
No problem. You want us to get into semantics, we can do that. He's the key figure, he's the leader. What's the difference, tell me?
But Akwesi, he just led the party into a defeat, 2024.
So
it doesn't stand
I'm
to reason.
saying that what is happening is unprecedented. Are you challenging that? I'm saying that in the previous cases,
yes,
it is the campaign team of the losing candidate which organized the thank you tour.
Yes.
There's a substantial difference today.
Yes.
It is the party which is organizing the thank you
And what do
tour.
you find wrong with that?
You yourself said what I'm about to say. I'm only repeating what you said. The complaints about party organizing the thank you tour, headlined by one potential candidate for the next elections.
Right.
You know the complaints.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
If it's this campaign team, why not? There's no problem. But if it's the party, and if you watch all the videos and so on, he's actually posing as the leader of the party. He's not the leader of the party.
Okay.
You understand? So that brings about some discomfort. And that discomfort has been expressed by many people in the party and so on. So that's there. Now, yesterday, I read a statement issued by Boachi Agyapong,
yes,
who was also an aspirant, a presidential aspirant. And as a matter of fact, who has been in the party from its very beginning. He's played a very key role in building the new patriotic party to what it has become today. I remember very, very clearly in 1990-91, even before the party had emerged, even before the Dankwa Buzia crops had emerged, Boachi Agyapong was in the thick of affairs, laying the foundations for the emergence of the party. He was then in New Jersey, as president of a bank and so on. I used to visit him in New Jersey for discussions and so on. So I knew the role that he played, you understand? Now, he issued a very strong and telling statement. I read the statement yesterday. I'm told that the statement was issued 2 days ago.
Yes, fact.
In which he says that this thank you tour is turning into a total disaster and that there's a need to meet again, to claw back and return to the original design, which was meant to energize the party base and refocus and so on. I think he's absolutely right. The way this thank you tour has started and gone, it's a disaster.
Kujupini has said the same thing.
It's a complete disaster.
The former chief of staff, yes.
And in fact, the former chief of staff is even wondering whether it was necessary at all.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, if you listen to the speeches which are given at this thank you tour, there's no thank you in it. Well, listen to the speeches. One lamentation after the other. Discussions about how and who failed and how they failed and so on.
But because that's always preceded by thank you. They would thank them for voting for the party.
For helping them to lose the elections.
Before they talk about the other things that you're talking about. So there's always a thank you.
Thank you for helping us to lose the elections, but you were responsible for our loss. I've been listening to the speeches very carefully. I mean, yesterday, I saw one video, and that video tells a huge story. This is the video of the former vice president and the presidential candidate, almost in tears. And he says, look, we lost the elections because we were arrogant. We lost the elections because we didn't listen to the people. We lost the elections because we didn't pay any serious attention to winning the votes. And then he makes this interesting disclosure that 3 days to the elections, petroleum prices were increased. And he said he was so surprised when he heard of the increase in petroleum prices. I'm sure you've also seen that video. Yeah. He was so surprised. And that initially, he even thought that it was not true. And later he got confirmation that it was true. What a vice president. What a government. I mean, this is a huge statement.
What do you find strange about that, Kwesi?
That 3 days to an election,
yes,
petroleum prices are increased. The vice president, who is the presidential candidate, knew nothing about it. Heard it the same way that you and I heard it. And was so surprised and shocked and didn't do anything about it or couldn't do anything about it. That's a huge statement, isn't it? And then he says he knew that e-levy was bad. Why? The party people, party foot soldiers, party leaders and so on, were telling them that e-levy was going to cost them the elections. He knew. Vice president, chairman of the economic management team, and so on, knew that e-levy was bad. He couldn't do anything about it.
What could he have done, Kwesi? Let's be realistic.
If it's bad, if it's not in the interest of the country, if it's not in the interest of the electorate,
yes,
if it will lead to losing elections and so on,
yes,
proper vice president, vested with powers and so on, you couldn't raise it, build the argument in your cabinet to get it withdrawn?
What if it did? But cabinet is taking a decision.
He should come and tell us. He should come and tell us that the cabinet in which he served,
yes,
didn't listen to him, his views didn't matter. He should come and tell us. You understand? He should come and tell us.
I'll bring you.
You understand? He should come and tell us. But these are significant statements which are being made. You understand? And a lot more. I mean, everybody has heard it. I need not repeat all the things that he said. You understand? But for me, there's also something which is very striking. The Makukwe Committee was set up to find out why the elections were lost and to make some proposals for reform and so on. Fine, no problem. We are told that the Makukwe Committee printed only one copy of the report. And in fact, one account actually tells us that even Makukwe doesn't have a copy of his own report.
He may have a soft copy. He may have a soft copy. Is it in his machine, laptop, or?
Oh, you know that.
He may.
I'm talking about a statement made by party general.
Yes, you're talking hard physical copy. Yes, it's only one.
Yeah, only one.
Yes.
So he himself doesn't even have a copy of the report.
Yes.
And that this report contains such explosive material that it has to be kept as a confidential document.
Yes.
You know, if you have a report which is good, which is edifying, which promotes your interest and so on, you would definitely want people to see the report.
So it means it's not edifying, Kwesi.
Fantastic.
Yes,
the only report you hide is the report which is not edifying.
Yes.
The only report you have, you hide, is a report which is damaging and
Yes.
so on.
Yes.
So it's up to the party to decide whether to hide it or not. But for me, I just wonder, this report has been compiled on the basis of interactions with party members. It is the views of party members which is contained in the report. So the party members who expressed those views, which is contained in the report, know the views they expressed. Not
Yes,
so.
true.
So you are hiding their views from them. Very strange logic, isn't it? Very strange logic. Hiding the views of party members from the party members who express the views which form the basis of the report. Very strange. You know. But that is not all. Now, since this report was presented, you and I, everybody, including Eric, have been seeing snippets of information allegedly being culled from that secret report. And we are constantly being told that those are lies, those are fabrications. We should not listen to them, we should discard them. Fine, we agree, we are discarding them, we are not listening to them. But then they go on the thank you tour, and everything which has been published on social media is being repeated through microphones. Everything is being repeated through microphones. And you see, quite apart from the thank you tour, it's also the commentary by leading persons of the immediate past government and the party. And one particular guy who I've been following very closely is a guy who is described as a spokesperson on governance, you know, in the Akufo-Addo administration.
You mean Dr. Pargriff?
My goodness. The kinds of revelations that are coming out. Mind-blowing.
Which of them?
Well, the last one I read was, yesterday was Tuesday, was yesterday,
yes,
in one of the newspapers, in which he actually accuses Dr. Baumia of throwing former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo under the bus, you know, and challenging some of the allegations which appear to be made against Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I'm sure you saw it.
Yes.
Yesterday it was all
Yes.
over the place. And so, you understand? So that's one part. Of course, there are so many of them. I don't want to get into all of them. But you're making very serious allegations. Then there are the significant food soldiers. And when I say significant food soldiers, I mean the significant food soldiers who have acquired public stature because they are in the communications team, because they are engaged publicly and so on. And one of them that I listened to, it actually says that, look, their views were completely ignored throughout the 8-year period. That they saw things going wrong, and when they complained, they were either ignored or shouted down and so on. And they are bitter. They are really, really bitter. But the most significant revelation by one of them, whose name I'm sure you all know, is that even them, he says that, look, one of them, his child finished his education and was looking for a job. Like any other person, looking for a job, was not looking for special favors. You know, everybody is entitled to look for a job and so on. And when he approached people in government, they told him to come and pay a bribe. Party food soldier who has sacrificed his everything, you know, his reputation and everything, defending the party and so on, is looking for a job, and the only way he can get a job is to pay a bribe. I mean, and this is said on radio. I mean, incredible and interesting stuff. You understand? So they are all bitter. Now, where has that brought us? First of all, there's the increasing complaint about this thank you tour and how it has to be stopped and reorganized and refocused and so on, and it's coming from all kinds of places. Fine, that's one trend. Then there's the trend which says that, look, Alhaji Bawumia does no wrong. Alhaji Bawumia was not helped. You know, his campaign was sabotaged by unwise decisions like increasing petroleum prices, you know, in the nick of time and so on. And that now he's free to be his own man. And we believe that as his own man, he can win the next elections, and therefore we are standing with Alhaji Mahmood Bawumia all the way. No matter what happens, he is going to become the next presidential candidate of the party. And I'm sure you've heard that. I mean,
Yes.
Sarah Adwa, Safo, and so on,
Yeah.
they represent that trend. And then there's the trend, which is represented by this guy who used to be at the Ghana Gas Company and others.
And there's also Bempa.
And so on. Who are saying that there be that the selection of Bawumia is what led us to our defeat. And therefore, in the next primaries, we are going to make sure that he doesn't come anywhere near the ticket.
He's been hauled before the disciplinary committee of the party.
Yeah, I know. I'm only saying what he said.
Yes, I get it.
And
I'm
he's
only
not the
giving
only
you
one who is
additional
saying that.
information, yes.
There are so many people who are saying that. You understand? And those include, for example, the supporters of Mr. Kennedy Agyapong, who are out there and who are very loud and who insist that, look, in the next round, it would not be Dr. Mahmood Bawumia, but Kennedy Agyapong, so and there are others, you know. So that trend is also there. And I don't think that it can be taken for granted.
Okay.
Then, interestingly, there's another trend which simply says that, look, this party is not the party we joined. This is not the party we built.
Dr. Nyawota Maklo.
Well, you like to provide the names. So when I want to provide the names, I provide them myself. You know. But then there's that trend that is saying that this is not our party. This is not our new patriotic party. This is a structure which has been hijacked from us and so on, and that this structure is no longer fit for purpose. And therefore, we need to erect a new structure. We need to build a new platform and so on. And that trend is there. And that trend is strong. You understand? And then there's the trend which says, we have already left. We abandoned it a long time ago. We saw that it was a hopeless structure. It's not going to lead us anywhere. We've abandoned it. You know, we tried to build a movement. Now we are going to transform the movement into a political party. It's also there. You know. And then, to some extent, you can also talk about the pro and anti-Akufo-Addo factions also inside the party. And this is the reality. And so there's so many strands. Now, in moments such as this, for any political movement, for any political party, even for social clubs and so on, in moments like this, what you require is a strong and sober leadership. What you require is a magnetic force made up of leaders who are sober, who are reflective, who have personalities that attract, who are sensible enough to use the force of persuasion and so on to create a center, a new center. I don't think that the New Patriotic Party lacks that caliber of people. They are there. There are many of them. That caliber is there in the party. But when I sit back, I just wonder, why is it not being used? What is preventing the emergence of this sensible, cohesive center? Because it's not emerging. It's not coming together. What is it? Is it that the politics has degenerated to the extent that decent people no longer want to identify? Or is it that such personalities are being deliberately prevented from assuming a role which is crucial for the survival of the party? And I can mention a few. I mean, I have tremendous respect for somebody like Mr. Kwame Pieni. And I know the role that Mr. Kwame Pieni played in building the New Patriotic Party. I know what role he played. Indeed, I met Mr. Kwame Pieni in prison in 1986. We were actually in the same block. And we spent a considerable amount of time talking and thinking about the future of this country and how things would shape up. And even by 1986, in prison, he was working to put together the foundations of what became the New Patriotic Party. He's a dedicated party member. He's reasonable. He's open. He has links with people even outside the tradition and so on, and has contributed significantly to building the party to what it became, not what it has become. You understand? He's available. Why is he not becoming the center of reorganization? I don't know. He's still very healthy. He's advanced in age, very healthy, very sober, very articulate. What is happening to someone like Kwame Pieni? What is preventing Kwame Pieni from taking center stage in the reorganization of the party today? And he's not the only one. I mean, former President Kufuor is available.
That's him on the screen.
Yes.
Yes. The Economist.
Former President Kufuor is available. You understand? Take it or leave it. He is the only, and I mean only, Dankwa Buzia leader who won elections which can be described as completely free and credible for the first time in the history of the party. The only one. You understand? He is the one who was able not just to unite the party, but also to forge an alliance with even hostile forces like the CPP and so on. He's there. His expertise is available. Why is he not in the center of the reorganization? What is happening? And then, to cap it all, in this state of paralysis, in this state of turmoil, in this state of confusion, people are beginning to pose as contestants for positions. I've had a list of people who want to be general secretary. General secretary of what? Of the party in this state?
But the party still exists. They may have challenges, but the party still exists, Kwesi.
Oh,
the party still exists.
There are so many parties which exist. You know, and I don't think that the New Patriotic Party just wants to exist. It wants to do more than exist. You understand? Right. And there's some curing that has to happen for the party to move to the next stage. I'm told, for example, that they've set up this committee which is going to bring up, recommendations for reform, which may include constitutional amendments and so on. Yeah. So at least the party is minded by the fact that it needs to reorganize, it needs to reposition itself and so on.
All right.
That ought to be the priority.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
Eric is here. He knows better than me. He knows the party
Eric,
better than me. You understand?
I'll beg you. Do me this favor. We need to take
you want me to stop?
No.
Okay, I can stop for you. No problem.
We need to take just 30 seconds breathe. I beg you. Our advertisers are on our neck, so we'll do this.
My friends, my name is Calcit toothpaste. Wow. I was made to be gentle on your gum but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Calcit. Happy smile.
Taste this holiday for 249 Ghana cedis.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Cal Chocolate Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Cal Chocolate Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Cal Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
You want to get polytank?
Oh, and you're fine.
Go straight.
No, I want for left, right.
That's right. Ghana na yewono. So we need Jomwa and a data. Who knows? Abe, na here. Me pe polytank ato. Enu ti na menu ya ba yo ti pe na ba yo. O food to bia. Enjoy me kura.
Akuya bulambo kotoman. Emu ha.
Like they take you by so. Go to the distributor and you give the original polytank. Polytank. You get a sound?
Polytank. Papananka Sankasa.
You're the answer to my prayer. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
Oh, sorry about that. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. This show is also live on 94.1 FM. We're having a conversation about the MPP's thank you tour and some matters arising. And just in case you just joined us, we spoke to the Honorable Agyapong, who is a former flag bearer aspirant of the New Patriotic Party, about some incident that happened in Bantama in the Ashanti region. And my guest was seated. I've also had their take on the MPP's thank you tour in general. Eric Chum would come back on in reaction to some of the things that Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. said, and then hopefully we should be able to, round this up and move on and look at the clash between the Ghana Bar Association and the Attorney General. It has never happened before. It's unprecedented. Attorney General is saying something. He's supposed to be official leader of the bar. There's a serious clash there. We'll look into that matter. But let me also say a big thanks to Blue Jeans Energy Drink. Blue Jeans Energy Drink is partly associated with the Good Morning Ghana program. And Blue Jeans Energy Drink has been on the Ghanaian market for more than 20 years. We know what it does for the body. It has many vitamins, vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and your energy. So please call Budget Cash and Carry on 0208-128-190, 0208-128-190, and also 055-00-10000. So 055-001-000. So Blue Jeans Energy Drink, proudly associated with the Good Morning Ghana program. So, Eric, before you come in, I've just received a message from Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. Apparently, he's watching the show and he has his own take on the conversation we're having about the thank you tour. And he says, "Good morning, Moro. If a major political if a major political economic decision has been made without Dr. Mahmoud Bamia's knowledge or with his knowledge but disagreed and yet his advice was ignored, the only thing he should have done was to have resigned. Thanks, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo." Dr. Nyaho, I've heard this suggestion many times, but I've said it also time and again that it would have been politically suicidal for him to have done that. I don't think that he would have stood a chance at all if he had decided to resign because he disagrees with some policy position which has been taken by cabinet. But anyway, Eric, let me bring you.
You see, and I think that sort of dovetails into even some of the things that Uncle Kwesi said. There's a certain convention, which is a convention of collective responsibility, that should not be lost on us. That as a member of a cabinet, or any government, if a decision is taken, regardless of what your views are, once the majority goes a certain way, you're bound by that. You understand? If you have a disagreement, if you were going to resign on every single disagreement, then they probably will not have any government. So that principle of collective responsibility still remains. Now, if you are being governed by the tenets of democracy to start with, whereby the majority would hold sway every now and then, and it's on record that you have actually espoused your opinions and maybe a disagreement on a particular matter. As a consummate Democrat, you're meant to go by those tenets. I have examples, and I'll go by those examples. Now, then, fast forward, the individual becomes a flag bearer, a presidential candidate, and he says that even though I go by all of these things and I agree in principle to the general direction and the ideals and principles of the New Patriotic Party, as an individual, as president, this is my vision. this is what I feel that would project this country to the next level. And everybody has done that. There has been clear departures from what former President Rawlings did and what Atta Mills did, what President Mahama has done. President Akufo-Addo did certain things that were clear departures on what President Kufuor did, even though he was a key member of his cabinet. Baumia wanting to do the same does not mean that he's throwing President Akufo-Addo under the bus. Otherwise, then what are you standing for? You know, and the same people will say that, oh, Baumia is just an extension of Akufo-Addo, and that because of that, we shouldn't give him an opportunity to serve. When in another breath, they are saying that, oh, everything that an Akufo-Addo administration will do, he should take responsibility. Fair enough. Now, you're going also by a constitution that you ran, which actually, and we have had this conversation here before, what are actually the powers of a vice president in the current state of the constitution that we have? So, in as much as you have an opinion, you have a say, when you go to cabinet and there's a majority decision on a matter, you have to live in, and that, unless there are things that are, yes, unless, of course, there are things that are, you know, there are, even in normal everyday relationships, right? There are deal breakers. You know what I'm saying? So you disagree with an orientation like a position like e-levy based on his agenda for digitalization and financial inclusion and all of those things, which is something that is on record. He has every right to say that. However, you have a finance minister or you have a ministry that thinks that, well, this is also an avenue to give us revenue, and you go to cabinet or wherever these discussions are made, and the majority come with the view that this is the same position that needs to be taken. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Otherwise, then really we are actually changing the goalpost every time as we go along. Now, you see,
Eric, how about those who say Eric, how about those who say that because he has an ambition, he wants to lead the party, he must at least he must at least show, he must stand for a certain principle, okay, which is to say that there's something I stand for, and I'm not prepared to countenance this.
Yeah, but that's
in order to make him different from everybody else.
That's on record. He has said that. He has.
Even if it involves resigning, like
no, but that's what I'm saying. That this whole conversation around resigning is, for me, I think that is a bit overstretched. Okay. And I say, unless of course there are major decisions that you can resign on. Okay. But the thing is that then how can you be a Democrat to start with? It means that if things doesn't go your way or the decisions are taken and you disagree with, these are individuals, these are professionals, intellectual technocrats, politicians from different ilks, people who have different orientation, and that's what makes up a government. So you would definitely have disagreements. So every time you go to a meeting and there's a disagreement, you resign? No, it doesn't happen like that. Okay. Right? And so again, I mean, you see, people like Pargrave and Co., I mean, sometimes we have to restrain ourselves, right? Why? I indulged, listen, feel free, bro. I indulged in politicking. And you see, there's a bit of disingenuity there, right? Because Vice President Baumia goes on and uses the word we in most of the things that he says. Now, when he says we, how does we translate into him throwing President Akufo-Addo under the bus? You know what I'm saying? Because it's politics. And the thing is that because we have been asked to basically be restraining ourselves and everything, it's politics that is engaged in, right? But for me, it's actually quite rich that someone like Pargrave has the audacity and the effrontery to be writing and putting articles. Because me, the first time I saw Pargrave, it was a second term in Akufo-Addo administration. I was in 20,000 Yagaba. Does he even know the way to Yagaba Kubori? What has he done? Baumia's, no, but you see, but the point is, even if he joined yesterday, the point that I'm trying to make is that he is a beneficiary of work that we have done. How? And he enjoyed it, even became a government spokesperson. Has he even been to a demonstration before? No, but you people tell us there's nothing in this government communication spokesperson. No, but I'm just saying that. And now he develops an audacity and he's questioning somebody who has campaigned for 16 years and become vice president because in his view, I'm just saying that in his view, Baumia was plucked from somewhere and was made vice president, and he's supposed to be loyal. But Baumia has shown his loyalty all along. And he has gone on and spoken about the fact that, yes, I believe in that. It's even on record to have said that history will be kind to President Akufo-Addo. So all that these people are involved in, are indulged in, is politicking. But we will not allow that to happen. Those days are over. You understand what I'm saying? Because as we speak, you take the election results, as we even in 2024, and you look at the impact that Dr. Baumia had brought in terms of even areas where we have actually made gains that we didn't even have those gains, right? And so all of a sudden, because you are supporting a particular candidate, now you are actually sort of undermining the individual who has run as a but we know where his allegiances lie. But the point is, for a fact. Okay. And so when you're doing these conversations, if, for example, Pargrave was here and we're having a debate as to this is a candidate that you prefer and this is a candidate I prefer, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I respect that position. But for you to hide behind this whole attempt to say that he is throwing President Akufo-Addo under the bus when he hasn't done so, when he's on record to have said everywhere that he's gone using the pronoun we, how does we translate into throwing somebody under the bus? Do you understand what I'm saying? And again, like I indicated earlier, there's definitely dissonance. There's apathy. There's a certain level of inertia. There's all of these things that happens when a government is in government for 8 years. Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? And he is on record to also have interacted with party people. Okay. And some of these things are things that are of public, if you like, knowledge. Okay. And he's talking about it. And all of a sudden, people have issues with that. And for me, I believe that when they do that, it's disingenuous. You understand? Because people have a lot of things to say. But because we've all been asked to restrain ourselves and not go into the gutter and all of those things, that's why we are keeping quiet. All right. You understand what I'm saying? Because like some of these things that are coming up, just because an individual goes into a thank you talk. You understand what I'm saying? And even, I'm trying to restrain myself.
Please,
you understand what I'm saying?
Because I want you to restrain yourself.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Because just because Baumia is going to a thank you talk, people like Pargrave have a problem. Today, in MPP. Come on.
How do you respond to it?
No, just one second. Just a second. I honestly...
No, but Akwesi raised some issues about the
Well, there's one more issue that I want to raise, and it's a very small issue, but it's important.
All right.
Okay. Eric talks about the principle of collective responsibility.
Yes.
It does not arise in the matters that we are discussing now.
It does.
Really?
Now, let me show you. Let me show you. Take your time. This is Dr. Baumia. He says there's a fuel price increase. He heard it on air. And when he heard it, he was so surprised that he didn't even believe it. It means that he was not in the meeting who took that decision. It means he was not part, and therefore the principle of collective responsibility does not apply.
Yeah, because technically,
if 3 days to an election for a flag bearer would be involved in a meeting on fuel price increase.
Hold on. The principle of collective responsibility derives from another principle, which is democratic centralism.
Okay.
When all of us meet and disagree, the majority view ought to be supported by all. That's the principle of collective responsibility.
Right.
But he's telling us that he was not even part of those decisions. He didn't know. He was surprised by those decisions. He heard them on radio like you and I. So the principle of collective responsibility does not apply in this case.
Just a quick question.
Yes, please do.
Strictly speaking, crudely speaking, do governments increase or decrease fuel prices? Isn't it an AAF thing, automatic adjustment formula? After every quarter, they will review and then...
Then why is he complaining?
Yeah, because he didn't know...
Then why is he complaining?
No, because of what you said, which is that...
I am not the one
a decision
complaining.
Was taken
no,
and now he's saying
I'm not the one complaining. He's the one complaining.
Yes.
And his complaint is that 3 days to an election
fuel prices were
fuel
increased.
prices should not have been increased.
Well, I find that a bit problematic too. I
He's
get
the
the
one
point you're making because
in
governments
in any case, there's even a more substantive matter.
Yes.
Should the rise and fall of petroleum prices be dependent on the fact that we are going to hold elections?
Absolutely not. Eric, can we move on?
Well, I mean, I'm done.
Well, there are other issues beyond MPP internal.
And that's why it was actually quite upsetting because there's even a certain, if you like, constitutional coup that is being perpetrated, and we have not even spoken about it, and we are talking about MPP.
Are you sure? Are you sure that there's a constitutional coup? Eric, today doesn't look good for you at all, and you want to bring more head problems. What is that constitutional coup?
Oh, Eric.
What is that constitutional coup?
But he doesn't give me an opportunity to speak.
Give me the opportunity. Let me.
You want him to comment on that?
Constitutional coup. Where is it? Where is the constitutional coup?
We want to know where the constitutional coup is coming from.
Well,
and here is a copy of the Constitution. You can show us what is being violated in the Constitution.
So now I don't know how to read anymore. I can't.
No, you don't have a copy. I'm giving you a copy.
I have a copy on my phone. I have a
So show us which articles in the Constitution are being violated.
Okay, all right.
Like I enjoy my interaction.
So you're a very good friend, Kojo Chumba.
My friend.
Yeah.
I don't see him for a while.
Yes. He's happy you're here.
I don't have enough money, so you can't even
sent a message. Kojo, this is like Kojo said, tomorrow. I want to know from Eric whether Bawumia had been to a demonstration before Akufo-Addo selected him as his running mate. Was Bawumia even paid up? Was it even a paid up member of the party in 2008?
Yeah.
When a presidential candidate who was vice president in the government is seeking to continue, says he was only a mate but not the driver. If he says he wasn't responsible for most of the policies that made his very government unpopular, what can be a clear definition of throwing his president under the bus? That's what Kojo wants to find out. And then again, this one here that, okay, so this Dr. Sisi says, More, I need you to tell your guest this. He says, I beg, Dr. Bawumia has been the foremost defender of Akufo-Addo's achievement. 2, there is no MPP politician who has done this better than Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. 3, the intense criticisms of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia by the NDC are largely because of his uncompromising defense of Akufo-Addo's record. 3, Dr. Bawumia on the thank you tour did not exclude himself from the challenges of Akufo-Addo, Akufo-Addo's government. He only echoed the reasons Ghanaians gave for not voting for the MPP. 4, he has gone further to state several times that posterity will vindicate President Akufo-Addo. 5, a statement of this nature cannot be coming from a man who is distancing himself from President Akufo-Addo. And let me just quickly do this too. So Ebo Bachman, who is an island strategist, he says, More, I said some time ago that what is happening in the MPP was just the beginning. And
is that what?
He's one of the strategists for Alan.
Oh, right.
Ebo Bachman. I'm sure you know him. Yes. He's a marketing person. He said, I said some time ago that what's happening in the MPP was just the beginning, and indeed, it is still just the beginning. A serious implosion against the party. Nanado, who was the root of the party's internal turmoil, has handed over the baton to another problem. Now, Bawumia, who will stop at nothing to assume total control, is it any surprise that he and his loyalists are now turning on the very man who sacrificed founding members of the party just to pave the way for him? Let's sit back and enjoy the drama as it unfolds. That's from Bachman. And then this one here says that, please, when you send us messages and you attack people, I will not read. That's what I can assure you. Because I like to protect the reputation and the image of the people who appear on the show, so I'll not read, I'm sorry. Now, Sani Saliu says, the stabbing of one of the aides of Agyapong has now gone beyond the party. It's purely criminal. Those who did that should be brought to book. But can Bawumia be bold enough to tell Ghanaians that the untruth plus his attitude of sitting on the fence whenever there's a bad policy implemented contributed to his heavy defeat? Comes to the question mark. And the national thank you tour is nothing but cosmetic. It's at best a charade. Good morning. Sadi Saliu sends that message. Okay. Now, there are others, but I won't read it. Obviously, it isn't only within the MPP that there are issues, but the Ghana Baah also have their own serious issues. There was a media bar conference that was held at Labadi, and about 200 people attended that media bar conference. Out of about 5,000 lawyers in this country who are members of the Ghana Bar Association. And at the very tail end of the event, some 50-something people sat there and took a decision. 7 abstained, 45 endorsed it. And they have issued a statement. And the statement is as follows. Now, the publisher has actually reported an angle of it, you know, and the Daily Statesman also has an angle. So the publisher, Guardian publisher says, GBA dares Mahama. It's a show us case against CJ. That's on page 3 of the paper. And it says that the Ghana Bar Association has made the strongest case yet against the suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Arabat Esaba Saki Tokono. The association is asking President John Dramani Mahama to publicly disclose the full decisions establishing a prima facie case against the Chief Justice who was recently suspended from office. The Ghana Bar Association calls upon the President of the Republic of Ghana to immediately release a full decision establishing a prima facie case against the Chief Justice consistent with established precedent. The disclosure is necessary to ensure that the process is conducted in accordance with the principles of transparency and fairness. The call formed part of key resolutions passed at the GBA after its mid-year conference held on Saturday, April 26 at Albadi Beach Hotel in Accra. The conference held on the theme expanding the role of the legal profession in national development, positioning the GBA as the fulcrum, brought together legal practitioners and stakeholders from across the country. The GBA further described the Chief Justice suspension as unconstitutional, arguing that the President acted outside the bounds of the 1992 Constitution. The Ghana Bar Association calls for the immediate revocation of the suspension of the Chief Justice as it considers the suspension to be unconstitutional, considering the fact the President, who is not a judge or judicial officer, exercises discretion to suspend the Chief Justice under Article 146(10) of the 1992 Constitution in the absence of a published constitutional instrument. So for them, the CI is, once there's no CI, the President should not go ahead and do his work. And they're saying that it says, okay, so in the absence of a published constitutional instrument, statutory instrument, or regulations governing the exercise of his said discretion as required by Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution, so it's 2964 or so thereabout, the resolution stated. The GB also condemned what they described as unsubstantiated political commentary that could potentially undermine the authority of the judiciary. The Ghana Bar Association denounces any and unsubstantiated political commentary or statements that seek to undermine the authority's independence and integrity of the judiciary. The association affirms the commitment to safeguarding the sanctity of the judicial process and resolves to take all appropriate legal measures to protect the judiciary from undue interference or unjustifiable attack. So these are the directives. The GB also raised concerns about the directive of the acting Chief Justice concerning the assignment of cases. They have a problem with that too. And the fixing of hearing dates for newly filed matters. It expressed uncertainty over the directive and recommended that technology be employed to streamline the process. Recognizing that the directive by His Lordship, the acting Chief Justice, on the assignment of cases by his office is uncertain, and having regard to the importance of technology and the urgency of justice delivery, the Ghana Bar Association respectfully requests that this directive be withdrawn and the use of technology in the assignment of cases to the courts and hand. So pretty much it's captured almost all the angles. Of course, there were other issues that they raised, Galamsey and Boku and Ablekuma North, the fact that there's no MP. But I think that what is at the eye of the storm is a suspension of the CJ and the acting CJ's directive that before you file any case, let me know. And I will decide which judges sit on what cases. And they say they have a problem with that. So what I find interesting, though, that the same GBA just recently, before the Baah conference, issued a statement and they said everything that was happening was in line with, the 1992 Constitution, except that, people's rights and things should be protected under 296. Now, the same Ghana Bar Association goes for a conference and there's a resolution which is totally opposite the statements that he had issued. So then I ask, why didn't you wait for this Baah conference? In fact, the last time they had a Baah conference was in 2002. This mid-year Baah conference apparently doesn't happen. It's just once in a while, depending on how they feel and what they think. Then they do a mid-year Baah conference. And so there were even some of the lawyers who were saying that they had no idea there was a Baah conference coming up. They had no prior notice. And the mid-year Baah conference is not something that they even take seriously. Because usually when they go, no serious matters are raised. And that is why For the past 3 years, there hasn't been a media bar conference. Now there's a media bar conference. 47 people out of our 5,000 lawyers have sat somewhere, and they have used the Ghana Bar Association's letterhead. I'm told legally there's nothing wrong with that. Even if it's 2 people, they are once they were at the conference and a decision has been taken. But it mustn't just be about the law. How about the optics of it? Anyway, I don't know, Kwesi, your take on this matter.
Well, first of all, you can test the quality of every decision. Every decision.
Yes.
Its quality can be tested.
Yes.
Now, one of the ways of testing the quality of decisions in some organizations is to see whether or not there's a quorum. And from my experience, throughout my life, the least quorum that one usually encounters is a quorum of 1/3 of membership. That's the least. Some have the threshold of 2/3 and so on. I don't know what the quorum is. What is quorate in the Ghana Bar Association?
So the spokesperson for the Ghana Bar Association was spoken to, and his views were sort on the same matter. It's a very important matter you're raising.
Yes.
His reason and his explanation and his defense was that the 200 people who converged at Labadi Beach Hotel, that 200 number was enough to form a quorum.
No problem.
Yes.
No problem. I'm saying that is one of the ways of testing the quality of decision.
Fair point.
But the other ways of testing the quality,
yeah,
of decisions which are made by meetings. Now, we are being told that the Ghana Bar Association has a membership of about 5,000.
Yes. Yes. Fact.
They called the meeting, 200 people showed up.
Yes.
By the end of the meeting, only 52 people were left in the...
Yes, because it was threatened to rain. A lot of them left.
Fantastic. That itself is another quality test.
Yes.
If the 200 members who went there felt that life and death issues were being discussed, they would have remained.
Yes.
The fact that of the 200 people that met there, more than 2/3 left the meeting before it ended is itself another quality statement.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Now, what is significant is that of the 52 people who were left in the room, out of 5,000,
yes,
7 abstained.
Yes.
And only 45
yes,
took this decision.
Yes.
That's about the quality of the decision which was taken. But we can do a lot more. Now, the Ghana Bar Association, within a space of 1 week, has taken 3 positions. And it is shocking that lawyers do this to themselves. I recall the first statement which said that, look, as far as the Ghana Bar Association is concerned, their primary objective is to ensure that Article 146 and its provisions are respected in this matter. And actually advised that there should be no public commentary.
Yes.
No public commentary, that the matter should be dealt with as prescribed by Article 146. Yeah. This is the same Ghana Bar Association. Subsequently, the PRO of the Ghana Bar Association, who is also a lawyer,
Xavier,
actually came up and said, lawyers should know that when matters are before the court, they are stopped from making comments on it.
It's sub judice.
Yes, and that lawyers should not speak on the merits of this matter.
Yeah.
And I want to believe that the PRO spoke for the Ghana Bar Association. Yeah. Okay. Then the Ghana Bar Association apparently comes up with this decision asking the president to rescind the decision or the warrant suspending the Chief Justice. And I thought, wow, what has happened? Then, in 1 or 2 days' time, the same Ghana Bar Association comes up and says that the proceedings should be televised. What is happening? Ghana Bar Association. What is happening? Now, there's something which is also very significant. And in the bar, seniority is most important. You know that. They claim that. And so
And they call them senior. Yeah.
Seniority is quite important. Look at the number of senior practitioners who have come up to disagree with this so-called resolution. Interesting. I mean, you can list them. I mean, every day somebody is coming out and saying, look, this is neither here nor there, and that the statement is wrong, and so on. Every day. The list is like that. You understand? I think this also speaks to the quality of the decision which was taken at the mid-year review, and so on. Now, for me...
You left out one metric.
Which is?
The Attorney General officially is the leader of the Baah. He has no knowledge about this meeting, and he does not endorse this. In fact, he says it is unconstitutional and lawless, an act of lawlessness. Typically, when these things are taken, the leader of the Baah has an input before finally the resolution is passed and the communique issued.
Well, but I wouldn't go there.
Okay.
Given the fact that there's history of the Ghana Bar Association disagreeing with Attorney General.
Right, that's fine.
And so there's a history.
That's fine.
And in fact, their positions were not invalidated.
That's fine.
On account of that disagreement.
That's fine.
So I would not go there. There's a long history.
Fair point.
You understand?
Fair point.
But you see, this is the Ghana Bar Association who should be upholding the tenets of law. That's what they should be upholding.
Yes. Fundamentally.
And it seems to me that they are now saying that, look, when it comes to the Chief Justice, don't follow the law, don't follow the Constitution. That's what they're telling us. And that's very strange. And they say, don't follow the law because it is the Chief Justice. I thought that the principle of equality before the law is a long-established principle. And I least expected that it would take the Ghana Bar Association to trample on that principle, to dance on that principle. It's just incredible. You understand?
I'm going to say this is the Chief Justice.
So what?
She leads one arm of the government.
The president.
It's a big deal.
The president can be impeached. Are you telling me that the president who is elected on the basis of universal adult suffrage is inferior to that of the Chief Justice?
Not at all.
So if the president can be impeached, what about the Chief Justice? The Speaker of Parliament can be impeached. So what are they telling us? That because of the Chief Justice? In any case, so far, this process has not pronounced the Chief Justice guilty or innocent. And it is possible that this process may come out, may have an outcome which says that the Chief Justice should stay in office. It is possible, if you're weighing possibilities and so on. Now, you see, I want to understand the Constitution. And I want to understand the Constitution in terms of what it provides by letter and what it provides by spirit. The Constitution is made up of two elements. You can look at it as the spirit of the Constitution and the letter of the Constitution. And you see, I have come to the conclusion that the framers of the Constitution were very, very careful and very cautious. Because the framers of the Constitution anticipated a situation where a Chief Justice may go before the committee, the 5-member committee, which Article 146, prescribes. And that at the end of the process, the committee may come up with a verdict which says that the Chief Justice is innocent and should return to office. And because the framers of the Constitution did not want a Chief Justice to suffer reputational damage as a result of the publication of possibly frivolous allegations and so on, they insisted that those allegations should be held in secret, in confidence. It is a provision which is meant to safeguard the reputation of the Chief Justice. It's not a provision which is meant to do harm to the Chief Justice, but to safeguard his or her reputation so that she can continue in office if the committee finds her innocent. Now you have a Ghana Bar Association who says that to hell with the Constitution. Publish everything, including the petitions and her response, and even the decision of the Council of State. Incredible! What kind of bar association is this? I can't believe it. Ghana Bar Association. This is the level the Ghana Bar Association has reached.
We see there are 45 people.
But they have issued the name, they have issued this resolution or whatever.
Yes, I'm saying we should be careful not to create an impression of the 5,000 members of the association.
So the 4,000 and so who were not there should be challenging this decision.
Yes.
They should be calling for a meeting to reverse this decision. This useless decision. What is this? You understand? And you follow Article 146. Everything the president has done is according to Article 146. Everything. I said, set Article 146 aside. Let's have an open trial. Publish the petitions. Publish the decision of the Council of State so that we can discuss it in public even as the matter is in court. All of those young men who were given prison sentences for contempt of court, we should be apologizing to them today. Because even the Ghana Bar Association says that when a matter is before court, you can comment on it. You can make prejudicial statements which actually predict the outcome of the case and so on. What a bar association. What kind of bar association is this?
We see we have 7 minutes. Let me give Eric the rest of the time to also state his view.
Ankwesi is very eloquent, and he knows.
It's not about eloquence.
No, let me
it's
just
not about eloquence.
He knows how to present these cases. But you see, sometimes, I mean, when we have conversations around this, do you know the number of things that is in this constitution that has probably never even been used and applied? One example is even our friends who have been calling for there's the right to vote, every Ghanaian living everywhere,
yes.
which is the constitution, which is probably more fundamental than anything else, the right to vote. You understand? You're talking about ROPAO. You understand? It's in this constitution.
Yes.
Is it not in this constitution?
Yes, but it hasn't been implemented.
Ever.
Eric, I hope you are not saying what you are saying.
I'm saying it.
That there are aspects of the constitution that we should not implement.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying that. So do we know? I'm building my point.
Okay, sorry.
I was extremely quiet. And you see,
I'm sorry.
And then he mentioned the spirit, right? The spirit of the constitution as well. And I have heard certain persons even talking about even that the so-called allegations meet a certain litmus test that requires a whole Chief Justice who represents an arm of government, where the process is basically a petition is sent, and one arm of government decides that a certain prima facie has been established, and then goes ahead to even nominate a committee, a 5-member committee, making up, you understand what I'm saying? Now, do you know that apartheid was the law? Do you know apartheid?
Of course, it was law.
It was law.
Yes.
That was segregating black people from having access to. So when these conversations come up, I mean, my orientation is not to sort of create this, if you like, dogmatic position on the matter. When I've heard people even make reference to Akufo-Addo's removal of Charlotte Osei and how they feel that, I like having these conversations, and how they feel that it's an affront to the office of the Electoral Commission, and this is the same people. Now, guess what? They're using that as a justification for President Mahama to do what he's doing. And that is why even the electorate and people who are observers, who are cursory observers of politicians and our actions and everything, look at us and like, who are these people? You understand what I'm saying? So in the last couple of months or so, a lot of the conversations has been revolving around constitutional amendments and all sorts of things, where there's a constitutional review commission that has been set up by the president himself to look at issues that, as far as, the Ghanaian people are concerned, the electorate, we have a constitution since 1992, and there are certain things in there. Even if we feel that it's written in the book, people have challenges with. You understand what I'm saying? And so in the spirit, like you're claiming, in the spirit of the constitution and all of those things, it doesn't even look well, it doesn't even look good to start with. Then even the constitution itself, in terms of making sure that these allegations or whatever petitions are being leveled against the Chief Justice actually meet a certain standard. If you listen to some of the things that the people are talking about, where you're actually removing a Chief Justice because of these things and suspending them and all of that, and the commentary. He's sitting here saying that he hasn't said that, but there are people who are, he's sitting here saying that, well, she hasn't been found guilty of anything yet. But some of the commentary out there is almost as if that she's already been removed, right? And you see, and when if it's coming from a backdrop of commentary prior to the elections, where certain key elements within the NDC themselves were actually going after the Chief Justice, and we're saying, passing commentary and all of that. And then, out of either some level of convenience, all of a sudden petitions emanate, a committee is put together, it goes to a Council of State, and they put together, and she's suspended. People have every right to read meanings into these conversations. And sometimes when we have these conversations, we need to be able to be very circumspect and also objective in terms of even the commentary that preceded these actions.
Okay.
Right? And as far as we're concerned, as a political party, we believe strongly that we stand with the GBA. I don't know the inner workings of the GBA, but we stand with the GBA in terms of this suspension of the Chief Justice. It's neither here nor there and should be revoked. And the party has actually, with a few other political parties, have actually served notice that we are going to go on a demonstration.
Yes, you mean the fifth minimum?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because
the minorities
exactly the point that I'm making. So you can make all the arguments in the Constitution is this and that and that. In the same way, the people who are now using this as a basis were people who had issues. And you see, consistency and making sure that all these things are anchored in values and principles are important. So even if you had issues with what happened with Salah Jose, as far as you're concerned, was wrong.
And Domelevo.
And Domelevo, whoever it is, where there are issues. You see, when you even delve into the issues, you understand what I'm saying, and some of the personalities and the reasons why they were removed and all of that, it's very murky. You understand what I'm saying? But again, we don't even want to go in there because you don't want to sort of injure people's personalities and reputations and all of those things. But so this thing about the Chief Justice being removed and that she's not guilty or guilty is neither here nor there, right? And for me, it hurts me.
I just beg.
Please, let me finish. Let me finish.
When you're done, please.
Right. It hurts me.
In just a minute,
it hurts me that people take different positions on matters, right? When for expediency purposes. Because when you do that, then over a period, it's like you're flip-flopping. So whatever has happened in the past, it doesn't matter who did it. If you feel that it was wrong. People would have issues with that. You understand what I'm saying? But as far as I'm concerned, even in terms of the sticking to the Constitution, to the letter, and the spirit of the Constitution, that hasn't been applied.
All right. That's fine.
Master.
If you can do this, just 30 seconds, I beg.
I just briefly, Eric should understand that this is the Constitution of Ghana. And it remains the Constitution of Ghana until amended properly.
Right.
You understand?
True.
So this argument that there are certain provisions in the Constitution which does not make for transparency and so on. So what? That's the Constitution. You either accept the Constitution or you don't accept
the Constitution. But people pick and choose. It's almost like an expediency exercise where they pick and choose certain aspects. It's the same Constitution that actually guarantees, you see, there's the same Constitution that guarantees the innocence of persons, right? But we make all these pronouncements.
Nothing has been done.
We make these
Nothing
pronouncements. Right? The same constitution guarantees the innocence of the Chief Justice.
Nothing has been done so far
big man.
which prejudges
Yes.
the case.
Okay, that's fine.
Now, you imagine a situation where the Chief Justice is going through this process.
Yes.
And she's still the Chief Justice. Okay. And she's still the person empowering courts to look at her own case.
I get it.
Why can that be allowed?
I get it.
In which civilized society would that be allowed?
Let me say big thanks to Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., the managing editor of the Inside Newspaper, and also Eric Chum, who's an MPP spokesperson. My name is Audu Moro. Thank you very much. A big thanks to Polytank and also Origins Energy Drink for bringing us Good Morning Ghana. Same time tomorrow. Inshallah, we'll be here. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Every day in Ghana, a quiet revolution on